Well, it is a concept album, which is a mix of fantasy and, I guess, ecology, based on the notion of Mother Earth being sentient and gaining assistance to remove the biggest problem that she faces for her survival, which is mankind, basically. And the method that she uses to do that is to call upon her guardians, who are ancient beings that exist around the world, and they come to life when she calls upon them and help her to survive from the dangers that persist, basically.
Yeah. Earlier, maybe?
As soon as it's ready, in all of its parts.
Yeah.
And we've got plans for there to be a few parts coming together to make it ready. The main part is now done, which is the music. And when everything else comes together, as soon as that's available, it will be released.
Yeah, and I think with the we really want to present it with a full array of lyrics and so on,
and the story.
And the story. We want people to really get what he's trying to tell you, and
There's a big story to it.
Yeah.
There's a bigger story than I just waffled on. So there's quite a lot of background in it, and there's this story that works with the lyric to present itself as a whole.
I think the lyrics are very strong on the album, and I think even just reading through them, there's a lot you can gain just from them, and then going through them alongside the music, which I used to do with some albums. You just sit, especially with old records, you'd sit there with the sleeve.
That was a joy of it.
Yeah, and you do that journey together with the words and the music. And interestingly as well, like during the early part of the album, we were talking about using sound effects to convey certain things. But as it developed, it was a case of, well, the music and the lyrics will convey that drama.
Yeah.
We don't need anything else to do that. The music is dramatic. The words are dramatic. And making sure that they're both represented very well in the whole package, I think, is key.
Go on.
The obvious one is the last album was by a band called 25 Yard Screamer. This album is by a band called 25 Yard Screamer. That is the obvious answer.
Absolutely can't stop now, can you?
But there's more to it, isn't there, Nick?
There is quite a lot more to it.
Elaborate on.
The artwork for our previous original album, Nemesis, has been the catalyst for the story of this album. When we saw the original picture that you, Vern, had done, which was of a knight made of stone kneeling in a inlet, an estuary, it set off some ideas. And then when you revisited that and you created him as a knight in his armour and sword and shield, then there was the idea of, well, why would he be stone and then be a knight? How would that work?
Is it waiting?
Is it? Yeah. What is it? And they became the guardian. He became the guardian. To the extent that when we were sort of halfway through Nemesis, I said to Matt, that album cover deserves more of a story than we've got within the content of Nemesis. But we were so far down the road of that we thought, well, we can't just drop everything now and change it. So within Nemesis there are little lyrical nods to what is on this album now. The sort of fledgling bits are there, and this album picks up on some of those ideas and expands upon them. And that's where the connection is the guardian from the front cover of Nemesis is basically the guardian who is going to be Earth's mother nature's savior.
I think one of
this album.
Yeah, I think one of the really interesting aspects of it as well is on the Nemesis cover. It's there's a lot of stillness, and you're waiting for something to happen, and you know something's going to happen. You just don't know when. Where, without teasing too much of the new cover for the new album, you see what is happening, and there's that nice connection. Well, I think musically, some of the guests on the album and what they bring, we've got a very fine vocalist who guests on a number of tracks to convey Mother Earth, and I think that brings out a fantastic dynamic with Nick's voice as well, and it offers something different to what we've had, and I think it gives the presence of Mother Earth a real personality on the album. It's not just somebody singing those words. You really get the sense of something ethereal and real, and I think that's a fantastic quality that Carly has brought. And also as well, we have some fantastic violin on the album, and it's really wonderful to bring those new elements to our music, and not be tied down by limits. Is to really be able to embrace what we want to, and make the canvas of music as big as it can be, and as much as we want it to be. It just broadens everything for us.
It's about trying new things out, things that we haven't done before. So bringing Carly in was a very important part, I felt, because the character of Mother Earth is the first voice you hear, or will be the first voice you hear on the album. And I wanted that voice to have an impact, and her voice is stunning, so she does have that impact. And also I wanted it to be, previously when we've had female vocals, it's been my daughter who's done them. But for this album, for this character in this situation, I felt it was very important that the female singer be a mother, which Carly is. And she worked so hard. She turned up with these notes she's prepared. She'd done so much work. She'd thought so much about how to deliver things, how to deliver lines, whether she would sing them in a certain manner, and she would try these things out. So it was absolutely joyous to work with her. And it's a very different element for us, and it's something new, and I think that's important for any band to try and expand upon what they've done previously and bring in new things and try new stuff out. I met Carly 4 years ago, I think, through a mutual acquaintance, my friend John, who I've actually been creating music with for longer than I have Screamer, and he started going out a lot more to open mic nights and things like that, and he met Carly there, and he thought it would be nice if we got together with her and a guy called Chris Hinchy, who's a drummer who played with us a couple of times recent past, and we'd form a little band together, and so I've been playing in a band with Carly now for best part of 4 years, and it's great. It's good fun.
And I think that there's already a musical relationship with Nick and Carly, which really helps. Mm-hmm. So there's a real, even just conveying and communicating ideas, it's easy for you to do that because you've got that experience of that together, and so again, it's made it easier, doesn't it?
Yeah,
you know her qualities, you know the strengths,
and I knew that our voices worked quite nicely together.
Yeah,
and
because I know when you were first talking about having that presence, you knew exactly you felt it should be.
Yeah. She brings talent for one. Yeah, an actual ability, musical ability. She gives that character personality and worth and context, and helps her to fit into the story in a way that I couldn't have done. You know, you as a male vocalist, you can sing as a female part, but it's never the same. And in terms of a storytelling, from a storytelling perspective, it actually makes it make more sense, and she brings such emotion to some of the parts, the way that she performs them, and the weight that she gives them. Yeah, I mean, she gives us. I think she gives them credibility.
Yeah, I think also, as you mentioned, context, and I think when writing is going on, whether it's it's from Nick or me, or when it's Nick and Donal, we're always in a bubble. The two or three of us it's always in a bubble, and it's so nice when somebody comes into that, but there's also on the outside as well, and they're getting involved in the music, and it gives you you're always trying to do your best, and you at that time that's all you can ever do, but it's really nice for somebody to come in with that fresh perspective, and just where you are with things, the strength of what you're doing by somebody coming into it, and that's been really nice. Carly's been we're so complimentary to what Carly has brought, and she's fantastic. But equally, she's been lovely to us, and we really thank her for that, because it's been so easy to work with.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. So it's nice. It gives a bit of context to us about what we're trying to convey. Is it working? And it's nice to get that reassurance. So historically, we've had moments of mythology has been an inspiration. Going back to Cassandra, that was inspired by the mythology of Cassandra, and then Nick thinking about bringing that into a modern context.
And this is very similar in many ways.
Yeah, it's not like I said. The idea of Mother Earth is a universal idea, but it's like it's coming through Nick's filter, his vision, and then me supporting that vision. There's so many bands out there that will bring environmental concerns into their music, but you hope you're always trying to do something fresh and new with it, and I think that is the challenge, and I think we've done that. I think we've really tried to avoid repeating, certainly ourselves, and even trying to avoid. Sometimes you'll get little influences coming in. You're thinking, "Oh, hang on, we need to move away from that a little bit," because they do creep in.
Creatively, it's coming up with the music. It's all sorts of things. It's a new sound on the keyboard, or a new patch on a new plugin I've got for a guitar, or it's trying a different instrument, or it's trying a new tune in, or it's putting a capo on, or jamming.
Yeah.
All of these things have an influence on where you pick something up. But then when you marry that to a story idea, and thinking about what your musical influences are, what they're doing, how you can incorporate some of those without ripping them off and becoming derivative. It's all of those kinds of things. There is a lot of thought that goes into that whole process.
I think dynamics is something that we really sort of focus on, don't we?
Yeah.
It's been touched upon in the past about us having, heavier moments, lighter moments, and I think that will always really be part of our music. But we really are trying to, and I think especially with this narrative as well, it's really the drama of what is happening, and how characters in the story are feeling, is really trying to bring that through the music and the words. So that that's a challenge as well. Is we want people to feel what's happening, not just read what's happening. And if you get both right, then we think it's a very rewarding experience.
Yeah, the story influenced the music quite a lot on this album. Writing the prose had a big impact on where the music went from there. So that was one of the biggest.
And you also have those sort of happy accidents as you're recording and working things out. There's so many
And trying things.
so many sections in this album where look at this, and get that mutual excitement together and exploring something, and ultimately just seeing a good idea become a great one. That is for myself. I think I respond rhythmically. I can't help but pull bass faces as I play. I just forget my gurning and it happens. I can't control it, which I find disturbing and humorous at the same time.
Well, we all just find it disturbing.
Yeah, and I think, I with my connection to my instrument, I tend to play quite hard. My hands come up quite high. I've noticed in pictures, really high, and I'm really thinking. So I have a very physical.
You have a very
symbiosis with my instrument. I feel good when I play, and I use a lot of movement and energy with these fingers.
There's so many jokes.
I know. I'm trying to be honest.
For my part, the creating of music was the only reason I really wanted to start playing. That was when I began to play. It was because I wanted to create music. I didn't ever want to be in a cover band doing pubs on a Friday night, week in, week out. That's never really interested me. The joy for me in music is creating music and making something new, making something that hasn't been made before, and that's original to an idea or a concept or a thought.
I think that creative outlet is massive, isn't it? It's so
I've compared I'm not a big fan of playing live because I'm always very, very self-critical, and I don't think I've ever come off a stage happy with what I've done. But I've never finished a piece of music and gone, I'm not happy with that, because I've always managed to get it to the point where I'm happy with it and decided that it's finished. And so that's where my satisfaction lies in this world of music, creating a piece of music that I'm happy with. If other people like it, that's a bonus.
I think collaboration as well.
Yeah.
The joy of working on an idea with somebody else. Both being excited by an idea. I think it's about any good experience is best shared, and I think it's exactly the same when you're working on music together. It's fun.
Yeah.
And it's a release.
And very rewarding.
Yeah. And so even more so when other people appreciate it, and which we're always very, very grateful for. Yeah.
On the rare occasions.
On the rare occasions, yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's always a challenge.
You'll go.
My turn. I think it's always a challenge because I think when you're starting from scratch, genuinely, you think, will we find anything? Will it be any good? Is it going to work? I remember with Nemesis, the early beginning of that, I remember coming down to Nick's and we started jamming ideas, and you're thinking, right, okay, how is this gonna sound? With this, we had nothing; it was blank slate, and then you get a sense of actually it's some interesting ideas. Maybe not, they're not all working, but there's something going on, and then it gives you a bit more confidence. But it is always a constant challenge because you always want to do your best work, and I think. Only in hindsight you go, oh, maybe I would have done that differently in retrospect and hindsight and all those things. But I think it's a constant challenge. It's a constant challenge to enjoy. Well, you'll make sure you enjoy what you're doing, and so there's always a challenge. It never stops. And I think the moment it stops being a challenge, well, maybe you're not putting enough in.
I think if you don't challenge yourself, you become complacent and you end up repeating yourself because you're not trying to develop. And that I think is when you get to those artists or people who are just simply regurgitating what they've done around and around and around and around. I think it's important to challenge yourself, whether that's technically or through limitation or whatever it is you choose to do, using, and there are lots of different ways you can do it. So you can restrict what you do. You can make sure you're using different amplifiers and different guitars and different tunings and different things like that, just to keep yourself fresh and make sure that you're pushing what you do in a different direction. And as Matt said, it always, I mean, and obviously for both of us, well, less for him because he's younger than me, but I'm finding different challenges becoming, because of physical restriction, are providing their own challenges now. So it's, there's challenges all the time.
Even creativity within a boundary
can
be interesting, but it can also be even more creative because you have to become more creative. So it's
without challenge, I think there's just the same.
And often through challenge you get enjoyment. You get inspiration.
Frustration as well.
Frustration. Was it our college days? Was it 90% perspiration, 10% inspiration? Can you remember that, Vern? Something like that. I think you've got to put the work in to get the reward. And but then as you go through and things are taking off, it's just a pleasure then, isn't it? It doesn't feel hard then. At the beginning, as you're starting to get the cogs working again, and as you mentioned physically, it takes a bit of time to get things loosened up. But when you do, same as when you're getting ready for gigs, once you get into that gear, the gears are working, it's you can feel everything just becoming easier. Funny you should ask that. It's almost as if we might have mentioned that there was one track that didn't make the album. Yes, there's a track called Prism, and during the course of the album, we want to convey the narrative, we want to convey the story, and there's and I think musically, although we go into different areas in different songs, they're very cohesive. They all really sit next to each other. But there was one song, it didn't quite feel part of it. The lyrics weren't part of it necessarily, but musically, it didn't feel part of this life, in this time of life of the band. I think you mentioned that it felt like it could have come from that album or this album.
Yeah, I think it could have come from any one of 2 or 3 albums that we've done previously.
But it didn't feel like of what is happening now. So we recorded it, mixed and mastered it, and you felt it was a nice idea to give it away as a Christmas present, really. So it is available on Bandcamp for free. We hope you download it and hope you enjoy it. And Prism, and listening back to it, it's like, it's a decent track. It just didn't have a home, so it can find one now.
But there was one point in the writing process when we had something like 90 odd minutes of music that we were seriously contemplating working on all of it. But that brings its own considerable problems. And
again, we want to keep a sense of quality and a sense of the strength of the album. And I think we were going through things, and it's like, that bit there, does it need to be there? Is it actually serving anything? Is it strong enough? And there were moments that, could have flown in different directions, could have become something. But at this point in time, it just felt, no, that's where we want to concentrate. That's where we want to develop. So there were other ideas that, but we've had that in the past where there's ideas that haven't felt quite right, or we haven't been ready for those ideas, and then later on, and we could be talking years afterwards where we've found them, and I thought, oh my god, that we could really do something with that, and they've become, great pieces we really enjoyed. So yeah, there's always room for things, but sometimes you're not ready for certain ideas, and sometimes ideas aren't quite ready for you.
It's a wrap.
That's the recording, isn't it? Yes, it is.
Time it seems examines